Welcome to Volstars, a Gammastrike production.
Welcome to Volstars, where we talk everything markets and those who make them. Today's episode is brought to you by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Maritime Tollbooth Authority and their newest product, the Hormuz Lightning Lane Pass. If your travel plans put you in the strait, skip the line at the Iranian toll booth with priority access, saving you months of lost travel time and reducing risk of starvation. For those looking for a challenge, the Lightning Lane Pass comes with a complimentary map identifying the location of our sea mines in our Maritime Pirate Adventure course. Looking to stay a while? Enjoy 20% off accommodations on the lovely Karg Island with vouchers for 2 free visits to our spa. Relax in a petroleum mud bath, detox in our liquid natural gas heated saunas, or de-stress with a deep tissue massage by our experts trained in the most gruesome interrogation techniques. You'll be so relaxed you literally won't be able to move a muscle. The Hormuz Lightning Lane Pass, your ticket to true freedom. And finally, by Gammastrike.com, providing actionable real-time data for every type of trader. You've tried the rest, now try the best. Gammastrike.com. I'm Jay Fresh, and I'm joined by our co-host, Gherkin and Dork. Let's get into the market overview. All right, so even though this war was supposed to be over weeks ago, here we are once again. You know what? I find myself getting actual... I don't want to say, it's it's a weird feeling. It's hard to describe, but, it's like we've done this before so many times. I'm just dreading that we're doing another cycle of another 2 weeks. It's like, if you don't do what we want, you've got 2 weeks or we're going to blow. You know why I feel so terrible about it? I've just made the connection because I do this with my children and it doesn't work. If you don't do this thing in 5 seconds, I'm going to escalate. I'm going to turn you into a sea of hot glass. And then 5 seconds later, I'm just like, you better do it.
You're going to get it now, mister.
Is that your like angry dad voice?
Oh, no, not at all. It's so much worse. Yeah. And that one doesn't work either. That's the thing.
No.
See, you know when your dad's angry because he goes from raising his voice back to lowering it really low and calm and even. You're like, oh shit, he is pissed.
Yep, because he's trying not to beat the shit out of you. Because then he'll get in trouble. Because secretly inside, we're all just big kids too.
Yeah, that's what this is all telling us, really.
Speaking of a big child, Trump, we got 2 weeks before we obliterate all bridges. Literally called out the same exact things as last time. All bridges and all power
plants,
infrastructure,
critical water supply sources. No way to say I intend to commit future war crimes on your country than just announcing an exact list of the war crimes that are being intended to commit. Well, I think I've solved the market. I think you need to buy every lie that Trump spews while simultaneously being prepared to short the collective statements of Iran that go, Trump's lying, Trump's lying, Trump's lying. He's still lying. Look at him lying about this thing.
Well, yeah, weren't we supposed to have talks today? Perhaps, maybe, like first
Iran said they will not be attending the second round of negotiations. Even more than that, 2 of the gunships from the IRGC's completely obliterated Navy opened fire on a tanker in the Strait of Hormuz as well. And they said that they see the U.S. blockade as a violation of the ceasefire. They also announced that their intelligence shows that Israel and the U.S. are stalling in order to launch another round of further and greater escalation.
Well, didn't our Navy take over an Iranian oil tanker today or something.
Are we
I
doing
think they get-
pirates? Are we pirating now? You know that that's illegal.
Well, you could tack it on
Okay, well,
with the
somebody tell
eventual
Trump, I'm sure he'll-
humanitarian crisis. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's add it onto the
He's gonna
pile.
sick his own DOJ on himself, I'm sure.
So when you think, I mean, everybody and their mother is an expert in talking about those specifics, and I think right now it's just I just kind of tune it all out because you've just got the media that wants to not miss anything, so they quote everything, and they're just constantly just these back and it's the telephone game and nobody's confirming anything. And so it's like 1 second, oh, someone in Iran, our source said that Iran is going to go to the talks, and then someone said, well, our source said that they aren't. And then now the media is so turned around, there's like, well, actually there's multiple factions that and within Iran's government that aren't agreeing with each other, yada yada. And it's just at this point it's like either they're gonna go or they're not. You're just gonna have to wait and see. I think the point is we can't trust anything anybody says. We can only trust what they do.
Yeah, I mean that's true. But the market has to react. The market still has to react to everything everyone says. Because otherwise, you're gonna miss out, right? And so, I mean, these last 3 weeks have been just a pure reaction to what I said would happen on here, which is the administration lying their asses off to get the price of oil down as quickly as they could. And I think I outlined it really well. I just did my members stream and I posed it to them as well. Every government, save a few, in the entire world is incentivized right now to say anything, whether true or false, to bring the price of oil down.
It's interesting though, because while the price of oil has gone down, the supply of oil has not necessarily gone up.
No, it's speculative price. And
That's the
there's quite a
interesting
lot
part.
of arbitrage between physical oil prices and future spot. And so some of that, as JFresh has repeatedly stated, will be resolving this coming week, as the oil settlement for the current contract comes through.
Here's my current thinking on that. Number one, I was just poking into the CME leading futures contract that's settling on Tuesday, and it's declined precipitously over the last few days. As you could, I'm sure people were closing shorts, or it actually just looks like they're rolling them for a month. But there's only something like 50,000 open contracts, and the next month, just as a reference, is like 400 and something thousand open contracts.
So a lot of them will roll because nobody wants to take delivery.
Yeah, nobody wants to take delivery, and a lot of the people that are selling the contracts don't have any oil to deliver. And
I was
don't
about to say
wanna
it's a
pay
short squeeze.
yeah, don't want to pay spot price at 150 plus a barrel to deliver at 90. So yeah,
I want to say,
mean,
isn't 50,000 contracts still 1 billion barrels of oil?
it's still a lot of oil. But you could make the argument that perhaps those are real. Those are people that actually have oil to sell. Who knows? I
Oil
don't
to
know.
buy.
I'm not an expert in that area. I don't know what's unusual.
There's
what's typical.
definitely governments that need to supply themselves with oil. Philippines, a lot of Southeast Asian countries. There's definitely some demand for actual delivery.
You talking about those places where they're having a lot of gas shortages and things like that?
Well, I did want to talk a little bit about Asia because that's obviously they're getting hit really hard. I mean, those like Asian governments are like telling people, hey, maybe we should work from home. Europe's starting to do some of that too. Europe's having a lot of issues with jet fuel, it seems like. But at what point does Asia and maybe even, someone like a China or Japan start to get much more involved in this conflict? Whereas right now, I feel like they're taking a back seat and whatever they're doing is sort of under the radar. Is there a point at which China feels compelled to start escalating, or what are they at where's the point of no return, and have we passed it?
China has huge oil reserves. I think they're fine right
I
now.
think
I
this is
don't
an
thi
opportunity for them too.
yeah, this is a great
Okay.
opportunity for them to get their currency into the petroleum trade. They're obviously, in support of Iran and against the US's illegal actions in the Strait of Hormuz. And so, I mean, I don't see why China won't do what China does best, which is just keep plugging away while everyone else fucks up. Like
Yep.
never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
I will say this about China. They're very good at keeping their fucking mouth shut and just getting the work done, executing the plan. Say what
It's
you
not
will
going to
about
change.
any other part of their government and ideological system. They deliver.
Yeah, that's what they're good at. That's for sure. I mean,
Truly like the coordination of like an anthill, which is also a very socialist society.
yeah,
But
despite all
man,
this tariff stuff, I could still get a thing from Alibaba in like 2 weeks. It's impressive.
yeah. Okay. So I have another question to pose to the group. I was looking at the Strategic Petroleum Reserve for the U.S. and noted that before this conflict hit, we were at like 415 million barrels, something like that. And we've drawn down through the second week of April a grand total of about 6,000. So like almost nothing.
Uh-huh.
So, in regards to, say, something like inflation, future inflation, if if people aren't actually drawing extra oil to make up for the losses that have already occurred, because we're talking about we've already lost supply of something like what, 500,000, right? I mean, it's like a very large number. And my question, I haven't looked at other countries' supplies and seen how they've drawn down. But is this just like immediate and drastic demand destruction in the face of a supply crunch?
Probably. Well, I mean, you're going to have some demand destruction from the increased prices right off the bat, right? Airline tickets go up, people want to stop flying. Gas prices go up, people aren't going to make that trip, or they're going to try to conserve. Um, like in the Northeast, people are gonna turn off their heating systems and deal with the 50-degree days because they don't want to buy oil at $7 a barrel for home heating, or $7 a gallon for home heating. And so yes, some of it. On the producer side, obviously nobody wants to stop the economic machine, and so I think we're still going to see the same demand there. I don't think people are going to immediately cut back, at least not big public companies, for a couple of quarters of this. But you get, the longer this goes on, the more economic fallout there is. And the reality is even with everything we heard last week, which turned out this weekend to be bullshit, like the deal is done, the strait is open. They said literally, they came out and said we're going to release more. Like a bunch of countries got together and said they were going to release more oil from their reserves. Everything that they could say last week to bring down the price of oil, and not just the U.S. administration, but every almost every other foreign power as well has been making announcements like this all through last week. and oil still held at $80 a barrel into Friday. So, and $80 a barrel is still, substantially higher than it was a few months ago when it was just under being inflationary. And so, I mean, oil's still expensive. It's going to be probably more money in a couple hours here, or in about 45 minutes. When it opens, it's going to open higher, because it seems obvious that the negotiations everyone was hoping for are breaking down in a very dramatic way. And, there's an escalation. There's already some conflict going on. And that's going to reignite shit in Lebanon because Israel doesn't actually want to adhere to any kind of ceasefire there. And then, Trump's going to, ramp up because that's what Trump does in the face of, being incorrect, is that he doubles down and he doubles down and he doubles down and he doubles down. And he hopes that the threats are so great that the other party capitulates. And that's literally what he thinks is the art of the deal. But the problem is, like, everyone already knows there's no follow through. And Iran doesn't care because they have nothing to lose, especially the people in power in Iran that are not likely to hold power if the US gains any kind of edge. So I would say yes, there's some near-term demand destruction, but overall demand destruction is not going to decline until you get some supply destruction, which we should be starting to see filter out now. We're about a month and a half into this.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen the we've seen the effect of supply crunch already in PPI numbers, which I suppose we will be talking about that at some point, because that came up last week. So we'll discuss that when we get to the calendar. Anything else to say about oil? I mean, honestly, I'm kind of oiled out. It's a huge problem. It's going to be a big deal. It's probably going to take longer to play out than people realize. But
It's
I
already
think
quietly a big deal. This is
yeah.
fascinating. Like,
No, it is a massive deal, but it's not going to be realized by everybody and understood, I think, for quite a while, quite a ways to come.
I think the
Um,
biggest deal for most people who are listening to us is, what effect is this going to have on equities? And I think that's just going to be relative to the amount of tightness in credit markets due to oil. So
well,
oil goes, yeah.
let's move right over to record highs for S&P and NASDAQ and the relationship between that and oil and what affects the bearish news that's come out about the Iran war this weekend and what that might have for futures open in a few minutes and all of that. So what are your thoughts on record highs?
And we squeezed hard. Options, the volatility, like last couple of weeks, the volatility return premiums have been deeply negative over like the front term contracts, like the next like 10 days to expiration. And that meant that, puts were cheap, but calls were really cheap also, relative to their historic volatility. And so we got call buying, and we got a metric fuck ton of call buying, and people who bought calls then bought more calls and rolled up their calls and then bought more calls, and then we went up enough that everyone wanted to start buying calls. And so call buying on call buying on call buying drove the market up, and that created a lot of supportive delta into the end of the week, which kept us, pinned at those highs. But I think we lost, 300 something billion of that delta, or 400 billion with the two SPX expiries. And I do think that started to open up, and we saw a little bit into the end of the day Friday, the prices started, like, finally, after trending basically vertical for 3 weeks, we finally got a little bit of a pullback. And I think that's the start of maybe a bigger pullback. But I think that due to the dispersion trading that's going on, with equity vol increasing naturally into earnings, especially in tech, that we are a little bit better supported than we were when this started, at the start of March, when we were moving into the end of earnings, dispersion was already falling off. And we had, we were moving closer to the corporate buyback blackout period. So we were already losing, bullish flows when the Iran war started. And that meant that we bled off much faster than we normally would. And it was still, very like stair step, like escalator down, elevator up through that whole period. And we finally got the elevator all the way up. But I think now with oil probably back up and more uncertainty, we'll probably see vol, which has stayed quite high, even relative to the move in equities. VIX is still, I think, around like 18. 3-month VIX is still around 20. So there's still demand for downside protection. And that demand for downside protection is one of the reasons we squeezed up so hard. Everybody kept trying to pile in to fade the bull breakout, but calls remained cheap, so it was just cheap to keep squeezing the bears out. But I think now we actually they have some validity in that positioning and fading this, and we'll be able to get a little bit of a pullback, but I don't think we're going to see anything yet until we get past tech earnings, and those aren't supportive of the dispersion trade. Then we can see the market come down harder.
It's all connected, it sounds like, between this, the dispersion has to get back under control. They're heading into tech earnings in case anything bad happens. People wanting down. It sounds like a mixture of game stonk and just actual people just praying and hoping to God that everything turns out okay and that forward guidance is going to be okay.
Well, I guess, yeah. And I'm also trying to point out that there's a mechanical reason that we went up so hard, and an incentive reason that we went up so hard. And the mechanical support in the market was not present when this all started, but it is right now, which means that pullbacks are going to be a little bit harder. But it also means something else really fun. It means nobody's fucking hedged to the downside right now.
Well, yeah, I wanted to bring that part up because a lot of this reminds me of the whipsawing that we experienced in 2022, where we were the market was very much being dictated by volatility, I agree this was largely a volatility based squeezing and options positioning. And I also agree, I'm looking at some of our data and maybe we'll pop it in. It's some of our more experimental data, dork, the data you're building. But yeah, I mean, the data that I'm looking at basically corroborates everything that you said, Girk. Everybody wanted to try to fade on the way up, but everything was still cheap. And so there was a lot of short calls that also wanted to close. And then there was people just buying the reversal, and all of that mechanic is going on. But yes, right now, calls, I'm looking at like a 2-year historical look back, and calls are still, little bit more expensive, especially farther out, like 50 days out plus, over 8,000, so pretty far out of the money. So like stuff that's normally sold,
Yeah.
is elevated. So a lot of that got squeezed out, which means that there's probably not a ton more left to squeeze on
Are
the
you telling me to
upside.
sell 50-day 88,000 calls?
Yeah.
That's
I
what that
mean,
sounded like. It just sounded like you're
if
saying,
there's
stop
any
saying
money
it over
there.
and over again. I mean, there is.
Okay. Yeah. Well, good, because my data says there's some money there historically, at least on a 2-year look back. I felt like that was an appropriate look back because we had like the big vol event last year with the tariff tantrum, and then, you know, the extreme bullishness of the year before that. So yeah, even with all of that, it is elevated. So, and then on the downside, very short term vol from so very short dated, so like 0 to 30 day, from like, oh, even some calls too. So all the way, show me the data. Sorry, I use MATLAB. It's MATLAB's fault. I love MATLAB, but
I hate
okay,
it.
here we go. So all the way up to about 7250 is cheap. out to about this next week. So there's your kind of upper range of squeezability. And then on the downside, it goes all the way out from, I mean, in the very short term, like 6,600 all the way down to 6,600 on the put side. And then it goes even lower after that. So basically, there is a potential for, nobody's ready for the downside. And because we've swung so hard up the other way, there's the potential there to just swing back again, because now people are starting to get short on the put side, but it does still feel a little early. And if you'll remember from 2022, which I think a hallmark of 2022 was something unexpected would happen, like the Fed would make a decision that people didn't expect, or say something they didn't expect them to say. And let's say it was a bearish decision, and then the market would just still rocket straight up, and everyone was just like, right now, everyone was just like, why is this happening? Like, nothing good is happening. This is supposed to go the other way. This doesn't make sense. Well, you're thinking about price when what you should be thinking about is volatility. And where is the short vol? The short vol, the people that are exposed to infinite risk are up above you. So when things get risky, the people who close are the short positions above you in calls, and so you go up.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here, but that's already happened, right? And so
I feel like I remember that one day, like, what was it, Jackson's Hole or whatever, where we went up like we got the Fed announcement and then like the presser, and we went up like 2% and then down 4.
Oh, yeah, because
yeah.
J-Pow kept saying Volcker over and over again.
And then like over the next like 3 sessions, like the market literally crashed for a few days. And then we went right into that August run where we squeezed the upside that
I still
until
remember
bad
the
news
quote.
came back in again.
I still remember
Yeah,
the
well,
quote from JFresh. One of the buyers going to get exhausted.
Yeah, it's always the sellers that get exhausted. The buyers never seem to get tired. But you made a great point. Until some vol event occurred that caused the market to turn around again. So that's the thing I think I'm looking for here, right? Because if we don't get something that once again makes people who took a short vol position feel scared enough to close, we're not just going to like rocket straight back down. I mean, we certainly could, and you could make an argument that perhaps what's happening over this weekend could scare those people enough to get a reversal, in which case it's probably going to be a long one. I don't think you're going to have to jump in right at the beginning or have to
Yeah, there's probably time to confirm.
I mean, if there was a reversal that quickly, that would be kind of crazy. Like no consolidation or anything, that'd be nuts.
Well, what did Burry's online calling this, like a needle reversal or something? He made up a whole new term. He just wants
Needle
this thing
top?
to go, yeah, needle top.
Needle
Yeah.
dick.
Which, yeah, I don't know how likely that is.
I don't think it's invalid, right? I mean, I talked about this last week, right? This is the setup where I was like, oh, we can't crash previously because everyone was too hedged to the downside. And then I was like, all right, well, now everyone's like exhausted from hedging the downside. So we'll probably move up and get some mean reversion. We did quite a lot of it, like back to all-time highs. But the term I was looking for last week was return to normal. And that's when everybody goes, oh, I don't need to be bearish anymore. And the market rallies back up to prior highs. And then the bad
Market's
shit
got my
continues.
back, bro.
And then no one's hedged. And this is literally the setup that drives market crashes.
Yep.
So, and we've got the news to validate that prices should not have gone back up. Everyone was wrong, right? You know, that Iran still apparently has a navy.
Well, you see, the thing is that we are in such an orgy of degeneracy in this market that the needle dick formation could happen, but I have a feeling that the powers that be that have all these dispersion trades out and everything are going to die with this drop if that's the case.
See, I don't want to over romanticize the probability that we are going to get a needle top, or oh god, I'm going to regret ever repeating that term.
I've already coined it needle dick, all right?
Okay. Have we Ron, look at the demographics. Have all the 3-year-olds that regularly listen, have they all tuned out?
I think
No,
Barl's
they're
still
all
listening.
in. Okay. Perfect. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I think if you look back at the past, what tends to happen after one of these, face melters is we grind up, right? So if there isn't that big thing that causes all of the people who are starting, who have not finished, but who are starting to build what I would call a generously short put position, then what's gonna happen is that people are just gonna start selling the calls and not buying the puts, and we're just gonna get reduced vol and grind slowly upwards into sold puts over time, like we normally do.
Sold calls.
Yeah, sorry, sold calls.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of the range of my expectations. If we don't get enough of something to scare people or force people, force being much scarier than scaring, to close sold puts, then we're probably just gonna meander upwards as people
Did we
sell
really get
calls.
a lot of I think one of the hallmarks of this move up was there was almost no put selling at all.
We're getting, like I said, we've got a little bit short dated,
Okay.
but there's not a ton.
Yeah.
Like looking across the entire Vulsar, and I guess we'll have to show this at this point. We've talked about it so much, but looking across
The VRP's been shit. Like there's no return premium in selling puts 10 days out, 30 days out. It's been
those
garbage.
are sold. Those are sold.
What? 30 days
The
out?
10 to 30 days out. There's a string of them down that are sold. It's a high vol, low delta position that's sold
Okay.
out there. But if I'm looking at most of the chart, it looks like average.
Well, what we need is what is really needed to get that drift up is for vol to go down a little bit more.
Yeah, but that
Actually,
goes down by selling calls into the upward move, which
Yeah, yeah.
suppresses
that's true.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Gamma, the
that
thing is
confidence
though,
needs to come back from
here's the
realized vol
clincher.
calming down.
Market open tomorrow. Puts are cheap. Doesn't matter. I mean, unless we gap down like 5% overnight, puts are going to be cheap.
And
And
if that happens, Fidelity's going to be down.
yeah, of course. But besides the inherent market manipulation from brokerages, we can do the exact thing that we just did to the upside back to the downside.
People just buy puts, and it's just an orgy of fear.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to start off as an orgy of fear, but once people start buying puts, the fear, kind of ramps up.
Everyone looks at each other like, "Who's buying these puts? Maybe I need some fucking puts." And then next
Yeah.
thing you know, everyone's buying puts. Yeah.
And puts
Yeah, I
are
mean
cheap.
that's the other side of my potential expectations, right? Is you get something like in 2022 where you get up and then you get down, like trend up, trend down. Then something else, someone will say something that's enough of a boost to go trend up again, right? The whole point is that it's not people perpetually going just pure long and short the market. It's people who are playing volatility largely that are dictating which way momentum's gonna move, and where is that potential right now? Well, it's not really much in either direction, but it is starting to lean towards the downside. So go back and look at 2022, everybody, and try to fight through your PTSD and remember some of the specifics there on why we turned around, why we went straight up. Go, look at what was the news on these big days. I think that'll help a lot right now.
SPX did the fun thing it does after OPEX, where Gamma Max cock rockets up 3%. That almost always leads to some kind of drawdown. So we'll probably have some downward pressure over the next couple of days, and that can be I would say the most fair thing to say is that could be a driver of, some of this headline risk that's starting to come in.
So what you're saying is sell 30-day 8,000 calls.
Actually, I'm thinking about the 7,500,
Yeah, that
60
would
days
be
out. It's 30
Goddamn
yeah.
degenerate.
3,900 credit.
Into tech earnings, I love it.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. The market's not going to go to 7,300 anytime soon.
I love
That's
the
That's what
talk
people
about
were
this
saying
stuff.
about 7,000 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
we were trading at 6,300.
I love the talk about all this stuff about, you know, AI and are we in a bubble? Like just heading into earnings, just a little preamble from me. Everyone's talking about like, are we in a bubble? It's AI. And then people, when I read the comments from the unwashed masses, they're all like, but it has so much value. And it's like, the only response I could think of is so did the fucking internet. And then you saw what happened in 2000, even though the internet was so fucking valuable. Right. So
Actually valuable.
yeah.
Unlike,
And
Yeah.
AI's value is
I was
still
gonna say,
questionable.
I actually really hate the comparisons to the internet because number one, I think that there's just a whole bunch of uh, survivorship bias in everybody's evaluations of current tech based on past tech. Most technology goes fucking nowhere. Look at
Much like
most of the
restaurants.
technology. Look at most of the technology of just the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Most of it has or went or is going nowhere,
Are you talking
right?
shit about carbon nanotubes again?
No, I'm talking shit about crypto and all this other stuff. But anyway, there's tons of technologies that eVTOLs, electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, like where I was reading it was like a JP Morgan analysis. I don't remember what it was. Morgan Stanley, I think it was, like from 10 years ago, where they had this analysis of like of what the TAM would be in like personal air taxis, in 10 years, which would be like now. And it was like, many, many, many billions. This is like a huge number with billion after it. And there's not a single fucking eVTOL in that actually is doing anything today. Although it's super cool technology, and I hope it people continue to look into it just from an engineering perspective. But most technology, even good ones, even decent ones, go nowhere.
Yeah,
So
but even with the
and
unfair
then the
comparison
second thing,
though,
the other unfair comparison is that the internet worked. The
well,
communication protocols and the physical infrastructure that was developed to facilitate those protocols work.
if you're gonna say AI doesn't work, I'm gonna have you define what does work mean, because let me tell you, it works, just not the way you want.
It no, it does the opposite where it turns work into waste heat.
No, Jay Fresh, if I want to change the minds of millions of people, I was given the best tool I could have ever asked for.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. AI psychosis, is that
AI
the
works.
definition
It's
of
just
work?
not the way you
Yeah.
want. Yeah, right. It's very sinister, but it works. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean that's fair. That is part of the it's a very nuanced and complicated situation. But I mean the core thing is most of the claims of what it can do aren't true.
Yeah.
People are just lying. There was
I can agree with that.
most of the lying in the internet era was financial games, like financial lying. This is physical, like lying about physics.
yeah,
You see, one's way easier to prove as fraud. The other one is easier to hand wave away as bombastic
I
claims
don't
based
know.
on
Maybe
research.
yeah. I don't know.
Just think
I
about
thought it
no,
was
think about the Elon method, right? Elon lies all day long about his shit, and no one gives a fuck. All right,
well, they're going to pretty soon.
we can
hey,
only
Jay
hope.
Fresh,
Yeah.
that
You want
little
to
like
you
that little like strip of puts to the downside down to like 4,000 from spot
yeah.
over the next
Yeah.
like 30 days. What if
Yeah.
those all just close at once?
It'd be fun.
It's
It
like
would
taking
be.
a
If they
rug.
all closed at once. I mean, it has looked worse in the past when we were deep into like bullish territory and getting like huge upward moves. But yeah, it'd be pretty fun if those closed all at once.
I'd
Yeah,
be
it'd
okay
be
with
fun.
just that little thin strip over the next few days closing back to
Not before
like,
you
what
get
is
your
that,
calls sold.
6,300.
You got to tell them to wait for like an hour for you to get in your position.
I already sold calls and went long oil on Friday.
Well, you got to sell more calls. You and JFresh just jerked off about 50 or 7,500.
I mean, I don't know if I'll get a chance. I feel like futures is going to gap down in 20 minutes and oil's going to gap up.
Well, let's find
I'm
out.
just going to have to
Yeah, I feel like
enjoy my puts.
I feel like I've felt that enough times already in the last month that now I feel nothing.
Well, I mean,
Which
like we're
means
going to
it-
gap
which
down,
means it might
open,
happen.
and then
And then
climb
climb.
back up all week. Yeah, hold
Yeah,
on. Let
yeah.
me be clear. We're going to crash Monday, but all-time highs on Wednesday.
Yes.
Fat gravestone, doji, whatever it's
No,
called.
it could get substantially worse. Obviously, like, you know, they've given JD Vance another opportunity to fuck their couches, and you know that could lead to, you know, who knows, probably not successful negotiations. So that's really what the market's banking on.
I mean, at this point, they're not going to have successful negotiations by Monday. Did they say it's like for Tuesday now or something? I don't know.
Keep moving. I mean, they're going to keep moving it, right? They just keep moving the goalposts so they can, you know, keep the market pumped.
Right. That's why I'm saying that like nothing's
there's a
going to get
rumor
resolved.
that Trump is short oil.
Oh God. Nothing's going to get resolved until the market crashes. Trump is going to continue to drag this out and not do anything drastic until he's forced to do it. And the only thing that I feel like is preventing him from doing that is high, healthy market prices. So I feel like everybody's waiting for Trump to crash the market. I think the market is going, like, the market's going to crash Trump at some point.
I mean, well, we were chilling at 1-year lows, and he was threatening war crimes, and now he's threatening them at all-time highs. So just imagine what the downside will be like.
Yeah, it would have to be pretty bad, I think.
How does he double down from war crimes? I mean, I think I will reiterate that the best path forward economically is for Trump to nuke Iran. Did he threaten to nuke them yet? Did he say like, I'm going to destroy your country or anything like that?
He said that several times.
He has said destroy your country, but he hasn't alluded to nuclear weapons. Although
how
some
the
of those
fuck
power
else do you
plants are
destroy
nuclear.
an entire country?
You could just blow up their nuclear power plant.
I'm looking
and
up
poison everybody.
I'm looking up his
nuclear
truths
waste
right now.
I mean, you could also just cause a humanitarian crisis in the country by blowing up all their bridges
9 hours
and sanitation.
ago, Trump said Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement! Exclamation point. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. That wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, Pakistan. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade, all caps, has already closed it.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
They're blockaded. The U.S. decided to blockade Iran's blockade. They're helping us without knowing, and they're the ones that lose with the closed passage, $500 million a day. The United States loses nothing. In fact, many ships are headed right now to the U.S., Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up. Compliments of the IRGC, always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and reasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the United States is going to knock out every single power plant and every bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy, all caps. They'll come down fast, they'll come down easy, and if they don't take the deal, also all caps, It will be my honor to do what has to be done, which should have been done to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. It's time for the Iran killing machine to end. Also, all caps, president, and then Donald J. Trump in all caps. Not president, just Donald J. Trump.
Super unhinged, but I'm glad he said that we're going to be fine and we're not paying. This is totally fine for us, guys. I'm glad he said that, because that makes me feel a lot better about this gas buddy chart I'm looking at with the national average for gas still at
Oh my
$4
god!
a
How
gallon.
many hours a week do you look at this fucking chart?
I look at it twice a week.
Why don't you just
look
go
at
to
it
the
that
gas
often.
station?
Well, because my gas station is way above national average. I like knowing the national average.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It
my
makes you
own
feel
gas.
better about
I
your
just
own gas
I bring a
by
barf bag
knowing
for
what
that. So
the natural what the average is for everybody else. It makes you feel better about your own.
No, it makes me feel worse, but that's why I bring the barf bag. But no, it's the national average tells you it's almost a good inverse indicator of national sentiment because
So
everyone
you're
buys this shit
punishing
every
yourself.
day.
You're punishing yourself.
Look, I don't know if it's necessarily punishment. It's the thing is I'm not. Then I can't change this. What am I going to do? Move?
I mean, what I love is that I can tell when my president is communicating with me via social media because this is the grammar of a student who finished 363 out of 365 at the Wharton School of Business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a good tell.
Although I
makes
have met
it really
a
easy
couple.
to know that.
I've
What's
met
that?
some folks from the Wharton School of Business, and he
Oh,
might be in better company than you might think.
Fuck.
as have I. You know, I used to think it was just the water in Pennsylvania.
It's the
Now I'm not so
education.
sure. Yeah. It may also be the education.
All right. So we've talked about oil. We've talked about all-time highs. The one thing we haven't talked about are rates, because why not beat a dead horse forever? Fed chair succession.
I know
Wash
something
the
about
dishes.
this.
What's the news there? You posted
so-
something, so you take this one because I know nothing.
Tom Tillis is not budging on Gene Pirro investigating Powell for, criminal activity. And so he will not confirm Warsh, who has to be approved by the Senate Banking Committee and then approved by the General Assembly. And so basically, Trump, I believe Powell's last day is May 15th. And if Warsh isn't, or maybe we're even past when Warsh is supposed to be approved. I think if Warsh isn't approved by the middle of this week by the Senate Banking Committee.
I thought it was wasn't it May?
21st. It's got to be by the 21st.
No, but it takes time. It takes time for him to work through the system. So the first approval has to occur before May 15th.
Yeah. And then if that doesn't happen, Powell's going to become president pro tempore. Or temperate, and then so Powell will continue to be the king of the spy for another at least another 30 days. And then Trump doesn't like that shit. So Trump's like, I'm gonna fucking fire him with no approval from Congress, of course, because he doesn't need them. However, if courts decide that that's illegal, because it is, then Powell will remain president until a successor is approved.
This sounds like a fucking mess.
Yeah.
It sounds like an episode of Game of Thrones.
I mean, it does. And
Warsh
sounds like how people say wash the dishes
dynamic
back east.
here. You have the Senate Banking Committee, who are all deeply in the pockets of the major banks, right? They've been bribed to the hilt. And the major banks do not want a yes man at the FOMC. And so I think we're seeing just a little resistance from the wealthy against Trump. I mean, in most areas, they're pretty okay with everything he does because it makes them richer. as long as everyone else gets poorer. But in this instance, this is like fucking with their business. You
It's a
know,
bridge too far.
they don't want Trump fucking with their business, and Powell does not fuck with their business. And if anything, he's saved their businesses' asses on several occasions. So they kind of like him, and why not just leave him there? You know, and so I'm sure Tillis is acting in the interests of his donors, you know, and of course his constituents, like everybody else in Congress, always acting
You
on
already
behalf
said donors.
of the people. Yeah, I know. And he is holding up Warsh's approval, and if he continues to hold up Warsh's approval, well, nothing will change because the courts aren't going to let Trump fire Powell. Not unless they find a really good core. And then even then, you know, the authority to remove Powell is specifically removed from the executive branch as a separation of powers. And so like Trump can actually go, Powell, you're fired, and Powell can just go, no, I'm not. And that's the end. That's the end of that. That's the end of that line of logic. Because he's
It's so
actually
confusing.
told Powell, like, get the fuck out before, and Powell's been like, you have no authority to do that.
He basically walked up to the podium and just did this.
It's imagine if you're Powell, this is what Trump firing you is like. It's like you're at your job, you're doing your job, and some fucking DoorDash guy comes up to your desk and he's like, you're fired, dude.
I don't want Trump delivering my food. That's the only thing I got out of that conversation. Like, ew, don't. I just feel like he's gonna get like makeup on it, like hand
So,
makeup.
like imagine
I would
that the
pay
smell of that
extra.
Geo Metro he's driving to deliver the DoorDash,
And
and
then-
just the hot box of shit smell.
The hot
well,
colostomy bag.
Oh god. And then I'm gonna like touch the bag to open it, and I'm gonna get like orange hand makeup on my fingers, and then I'm gonna go try to wash it off, but it's water resistant, and so then I'm just like, do I touch my hamburger with my hands? It's gonna
And you'll
be
see
a
the
whole
hamburger has like
mess.
3 bites out of it with orange finger like marks all over the bun.
If I like called DoorDash and like I got Trump confirmed as my DoorDash driver for my order, I would wait until there was like 15 seconds left, and then I would double dash another location like 30 miles away from my first delivery. So he would have to go to both. And then yeah.
That poor Geo Metro.
And then I would call customer service and complain and ask to remove my tip.
Damn, dude, you're kicking him while he's down. If he's driving DoorDash.
I mean, if my food smells like a hot colostomy bag, I'm gonna have an issue with it.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. No, it's just that bag with the knot around it is just trapping all of that in there. And
I'm
just,
not gonna eat the food. The point of having Trump DoorDash your food is not the food.
It's the feeling.
Yes.
Oh God. Okay, so we don't know necessarily if Warsh is going to be brought in because there's this stupid investigation going on to try to fire Powell before they can let the process just take place because reasons. Okay, I think I'm understanding this a little bit. And then there's this whole complicated debacle about if he does get fired by Trump, right? And then,
Not complicated. Nothing's gonna happen.
I know that's what it sounds like to me.
And
It sounds like
Powell's gonna stay president of the Fed.
yeah, it's what it sounds like. Powell's going to be president of the Fed a lot longer because of all this hemming and hawing that's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Instead of picking a good nominee, which I actually don't think Warsh is that bad of one. He definitely could have done way worse. Like he could have picked Moran or Moran, sorry. And that would have been way worse. But you know, that no bank wants a yes man in charge of the Fed. And even if Warsh were to take over, Powell's still on the board. So
yeah.
there's no winning, and all they've done is create a lot of bureaucratic bullshit that's tying things up and making it more difficult to accomplish their end goal, which is to
That
bring
sounds
rates
like a
down
theme.
in an environment where the Fed can't afford to buy more of the front.
You know what would make rates go down, Girk? I'm gonna quiz you real quick. What
A
would make
complete and
rates
utter
go
crash of
down?
the US dollar.
Okay, well, okay. Well, no. Let's keep this. I want the economists listening to be able to hear this in terms they understand. What would bring rates down?
Absolutely fucking nothing.
The inflation going down.
Again, I will reiterate, absolutely fucking nothing.
You're such a fucking doomer.
There's no way to bring them down. The Fed doesn't have control of the top end of the curve.
I
And the
know.
top end of the curve is going to keep the bottom end from slumping. So it's
I'm just thinking.
you know,
I'm just saying in a traditional sense, right? You would
oh,
think
like
that
if
the
Keynesian policy? You're talking
yeah.
about
I'm just saying, like, yeah. If we were to just be total boneheads right now and just say, what is it that generally makes rates go
forgot we
down?
were
It's
speaking to
inflation going down.
economists. I'll try to explain this like they're five.
They are five.
Absolutely fucking nothing.
We could
But
stop
it's just
spending so much money.
well, it
Rates
just goes
have
to
one
show,
place to
like,
go. Up.
it just goes to show, though, that like even with a traditional line of thinking, the decisions that are being made in this administration just do not align with rates going down. If you were to think, I want to get inflation down to make rates go down naturally, with Fed's decision, right? What would I do? I probably wouldn't do things like get the Strait of Hormuz closed.
Oh, ooh. I know. What if we didn't have a $38 trillion deficit?
Girk,
If we could
I'm
make
going to tell
that
you right now,
disappear,
you're
rates
gonna
can
get us
come down.
canceled.
Hold on.
Eric, I've been saying this to a lot of people lately. The president does not have control of the purse.
Nobody does.
No one does.
Congress does.
No, they don't.
No,
They
they
don't know what the
don't.
fuck. They don't even know what they're paying for anymore.
Congress
They
Congress
could
acquitted
vote
itself
to
in January of 2025, and they haven't been back since.
Yeah, they have
yeah,
no control.
they've kind of been does anybody
You know who has
the only
control?
time the only person I've heard anything about is from Lindsey Graham, and that's just because he's openly filleting Trump about the war. That's
It's
why
an
anybody
orgy of
cares about.
lobbyists
It
that are
probably
telling
just
people what to
has
spend money on.
extra defense contractors in his
Yeah.
In South Carolina,
probably I don't know,
Yes.
furniture
Yes. If you got to
manufacturers.
vote on the budget, dude, you've got hookers and blow coming out your eyeballs. Okay, like it doesn't matter where you're from. You could be from West Virginia. If you're on the Senate, I
You know
mean,
what's
you're
going to
so
definitely make
owned.
rates come down? The extra $1.5 trillion that Trump wants to pump into the defense budget. That'll do it, right,
Right.
guys?
Yeah, it's
You know what?
it's we're on the right path.
Yeah, we're on the path of if we spend enough money, at some point the rates will come down.
It sounds Keynesian as fuck,
yeah,
actually.
but
Now
you're
we're
not
going
gonna
full
like
circle back
that.
to the traditional. Just inflate our way out of it. What do they spend our way out of inflation?
Why don't we just do what they should have done all along and just destroy the dollar and make something new and go, we're not paying you guys back. Get fucked.
You know, the people who do Keynesian economics must go to Costco and say, I see I can get 2 tubs of ice cream and save a little bit of money. My inflation went down.
So Trump already did that. He created his Trump coin and then rugged everybody. His stable coin or
Yeah.
Not
whatever.
fraud.
Not fraud, yeah. It's fraud.
Ugh.
All right. So I think should we move into earnings? I feel like we've talked a lot about things that haven't actually progressed all that much, at least macroeconomically, but earnings we're starting to really ramp up, right? So we had bank earnings starting last week, which always kind of kick off the earnings season. So what do we got this week that you guys
We got more
Fucking
banks.
everything.
More. Hold on, we have more banks, but worse ones.
Yeah.
Largely. And then we have some airlines, Tesla. And
Personally, and this isn't a meme. I am interested in Dow and 3M, but primarily Dow for their forward guidance.
We have
I wanna see what they're
SLB
thinking.
and Halliburton,
Yeah, them too.
who are probably going to get up there just high on coke and be like, "Oil's high, woo!" And that'll be their earnings call. You
Yeah,
know?
the hookers on
What
either
if it went
side.
even higher?
Yeah.
Just get on the
I'm
mic.
looking
Those are
at
rookie
like
numbers.
a DR Horton. That could be an interesting one just to see if anything is progressing on the housing side.
Yeah.
That's possible. 3M, probably not that interesting, but maybe like some of the defense stuff, GE Aerospace, Boeing. I don't know. Do we use Grok for military operations yet? Maybe Tesla will matter. Maybe Tesla will matter because people don't
Well-
want to buy cars powered by gasoline right now.
Remember, SpaceX bought like a
And if you
shitload
can't
of
buy a
Cybertrucks.
Ford F550 an F550 King Ranch because it runs on diesel, the next truck that you could use to show off your repressed homosexuality might be the Cybertruck.
No.
No?
I feel like the Cybertruck is still just for weirdos and wackadoos. Like they're not cutting into the King Ranch clientele.
It's
No?
At
Duramax
least
or
that's
die,
not
baby.
really what I'm seeing. I'm not seeing that.
Okay, well you would know. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
no,
have no exposure in my part of the country.
I see
What
a lot of
about-
King Ranches and a fair number of Cybertrucks around town, and the Venn diagram of those customers do not overlap a whole ton.
What about
Yeah.
American Express?
They're probably doing fine. I mean,
Yeah, I mean they're more credit, right? So the banks that I looked at from last week, their charge offs and stuff weren't terrible.
Really?
wait,
It looked to
Girk,
me
I wanna
like
poke your brain.
net credit margins weren't doing too great.
Yeah, I wanna poke your brain on this, Girk. You gave that look you give when there's something going on in that head of yours, and I'm interested to
Which
hear
head?
about your view on American Express, and why are you interested in
American
them?
Express is it's a really interesting earnings because almost every corporation in America uses Amex for all of their expenses. And so
Yes.
if we wanted to see a slowdown in the growth cycle in the business environment, where do you think cuts would come first? Before they cut employees, they would cut
Lines of credit,
spending.
budgets. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm very interested in Amex's earnings. I want to see what their customers are running up. I think their earnings will be fine. I'm not saying that they'll have bad earnings or anything like that. But I am very interested in seeing what their clientele is spending.
Okay.
Because we know PPI is hot, but it's not that hot yet. And why? If PPI is not super hot, it's because people are not spending as much because, like Jay Fresh said before, there's some demand drawdown. And if there's some demand drawdown, we're going to see it there.
Yeah, and I think that's why the airlines are interesting too, right? Because we didn't even talk about this, but I saw some news. Again, I'm not personally corroborating it. Maybe while we're talking about it, Ron can look it up. But Spirit Airlines is discussing asking for basically a bailout to avoid insolvency.
It seems like they're always asking for a bailout.
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, we've
That's
got
fair. But you've got like Air Canada canceling their flights to Washington, D.C. and other places, citing fuel costs. I know that a bunch of airlines in Europe seems to be really struggling with jet fuel. They're canceling a lot of stuff. So
you have a huge bump in jet fuel costs. You also have the the continued shutdown with TSA and DHS, moving ICE agents into airports to try to assist TSA. And so like now the question is like air flights have the cost of a flight has like quadrupled domestically in the last month and a half because of fuel costs. And then consumers are faced with the proposition of not only paying quadruple for the ticket, but then going to stand in fucking line at the airport for 6 hours. And it starts to look a lot better to just like not go.
yeah,
Are we going to get a whole bunch of doom porn from all these airlines?
So the airlines combined with Amex actually could paint us a very pretty picture of corporate spending and corporate intrastate business economics. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, and then you got people like, again, you wrap in Dow and companies like Texas Instruments getting some look into compute hardware, like, analog compute hardware and other things. And Procter and Gamble on Friday morning, kind of looking at, they're still getting hit with costs, right? So if they're getting demand crunch on the backside and they're getting, supply costs going up on the front side, then, that probably, I agree, probably won't show up in any of the earnings calls, like any of the data. But I'm really, really interested to hear what all of these folks have to say about the next quarter going forward. It'll be
Okay.
interesting to see primarily like how much are they trying to look through and how much are they trying to like deal with something that is inevitable, right?
Okay, I have 2 picks from this earnings that I'm gonna be looking at very, very closely. I put them in our chat so you could look at them. We have Chubb and Annaly right next to each other on Tuesday after close. If they're both doing great, we're in for some trouble. I don't even know
I
what
could
they
see
do,
that.
but it's Chubb and Annaly. I mean, I couldn't help it. I'm a
You
juvenile.
couldn't help it. Well, then there's the other thing I couldn't help then. I'm going to sneak this in because I was ready to let it go. You mentioned earlier with like the chart patterns and you said the fat gravestone doji. I spent a full I spent a full 5 minutes thinking about what if your gravestone scaled with your actual weight? And so like for eternity everybody would walk by your grave and know how fat you were. There's
Sounds
just
like
an
I need to gain
interesting
some weight
dynamic.
before I die.
It's an interesting dynamic to think about. So anyway, that's what I did for 5 minutes of this podcast, which is why it's such a
Uh,
high quality
while
outfit.
while you were thinking about that, and we were discussing Chubb and Annaly, futures opened.
Oh yeah, and they did what I
Oh
said.
no.
Yeah,
How
oil up,
much are they
market
down?
down. Oil's up what, like 6%?
ES gap down 80 points and oil's up 7%.
Up 7. Shit.
That's insane to me that ES is only down 80 points. But I guess that's about what I expected, par for the course. Everybody's like, oh, it's going to be down 3%, and then it's just kind of down. It'll be green by probably before I go to bed.
Yeah. Well, it
You got to
depends.
have,
What's
you got
VX1 at?
to, let's see. It's up about 90 bips too.
Okay, lame. Yeah, it's gonna go back up.
Well, I mean, it's up. Everybody thinks about it in terms of the percent it's up, but VIX is already a percent. So it's up 80. It's up 0.9.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's like 4% if you think about a percent is in percent terms,
Yeah, okay.
which doesn't make sense to me. But I also know everybody does. So when I say it's up 90 bips, they think, oh, VIX went up 0.2. No,
I
VIX
don't
went
I
up
don't call them
0.9.
I don't call them bips. I call it fears. That's the measurement I use is
Oh,
fears
yeah. I
or
mean,
bears.
it's 200 bips to one fear boner. That's the conversion.
Okay. Well, yeah. Earnings is packed. It's stacked. I am interested. I think the airlines are going to be those earnings calls are going to be interesting considering how much turmoil there is elsewhere. See if these guys see that on the horizon, and then Dow I think will also probably be a voice for that turmoil as well. American Express, I don't know. Girk might be early, but he might not be. We'll find out.
All right, let's get into the calendar. Last week, I think the only thing that's really, really worthwhile to talk about is PPI coming in a little cooler than people expected. Do we want to unpack that at all, or just kind of say it's still hot? I mean,
It
month
came
over
in
month
cooler
is
at
0.5.
0.5%.
Yeah.
So basically, instead of apocalypse, we got really shitty.
Yeah, and I mean the week before or the month before that was what 1.1 or something like that, 0.9. It was up there. So we're now like basically doing our zero point 0.4 to 0.5 volatility in the signal basically up at like a 0.7 level instead of a 0.1 level.
It's fantastic. My favorite thing
So
ever.
I don't know that I'd read more into it than that, right? Still high, and the range of values, not looking super great. I mean, core PPI month over month was 0.1. That was kind of interesting, but
Yeah.
keep in mind too, this is also seasonally adjusted values. I think the non-seasonally adjusted values were actually a little worse. And we've talked many times on this podcast about how seasonally adjusted only works if nobody cares about the data because everything is running as intended.
Yeah.
So when you have shocks, one-time events, you can't seasonally adjust a one-time event. So buyer beware on the seasonal
Well,
adjustments.
don't
So if you look
worry.
at
This event's becoming persistent.
It'll be
true. So
seasonally
next
adjusted
year,
away.
next April, assuming nothing has changed from today, the seasonal adjustments might make sense. Maybe.
Everything will look great.
Anything else from that week, or do we want to jump into next week or this week?
There's like some housing stuff. 30-year mortgage rate down slightly, but yeah, not a ton of interesting stuff.
All right. So this week, what do we care about this week? We got retail sales tomorrow, Tuesday. There's like nothing tomorrow worth talking about. We got retail sales on Tuesday, pending home sale. Nobody cares about that. And
Yes, we should care a little bit about pending home sales.
they're low. They're super low. They've been low for years now, and nothing ever happens. I feel like everybody's just forgotten about it. I have noticed that there have been an acceleration in price adjustments to the downside in a lot of areas around the country. So that it is a problem, and it will become a bigger problem. The question is it going to be the problem to focus on next? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
It seems like us shooting at another country might be a bigger problem short term, but who could say?
Right.
What else? We got flash PMI, S&P Global Manufacturing PMI. I feel like Dirk should love that.
I don't really care about the S&Ps as much as the ISM ones.
Dirk loves his ISM.
See, like
Price data matters.
I guarantee you, every single listener, which is just one person, doesn't even know the difference when you say S&P or IMS. Like they hear the same thing both
ISM.
times, right? See, nobody even knew. They didn't even know what I said was the wrong one.
You didn't even know.
Don't insult our viewer like that, Jay Fresh. He might have known.
Okay. So we can't even get Gert to care about the things that we think he should care about.
I care
all right,
about
so
Japanese inflation and
Yeah, I was about to
British
say.
inflation.
Ooh, when is British inflation? Japanese is on Thursday.
British inflation, I believe, is Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. Eastern.
Ooh, all right.
We also get consumer sentiment on Friday. Which
not only are we getting their inflation and core inflation, we're also getting their PPI. So that'll be fun. Obviously,
Yeah,
they're an island, so
Japan.
higher energy prices are a bit more. Britain and Japan are islands, so
You like that hot British PPI?
who doesn't?
Fair.
we also
All
got
right,
consumer
Dork,
sentiment on Friday.
continuing your Keynesian era.
Yeah.
You got a real Keynesian fetish going on lately. So we care about consumer sentiment for some reason. Like that matters.
Damn right we do. Consumer sentiment doesn't matter until it does.
That's true of literally everything we've talked about today.
The forecast is what, 47.6, which is pretty fucking low. If that surprises to
Yeah.
the downside, that's kind of a big indicator of something happening.
I mean, consumer sentiment has already been tickling with all-time lows for a while now. So again, more of the same. Things are terrible. It's like every other economic event. Everybody looks back, it's just like, oh, the signs were all there for a long time, and then it obviously, and then it happened, right? We're in the same exact situation. Like all the signs are there, and everyone's just waiting for it to happen.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, things haven't exactly been going great since the old panorama.
Yeah, another thing we didn't even have time to talk about today was private credit. Maybe we should, Ron, put it on the list. Look for some private credit stuff for next week because I think that's going to be a big deal. Because one thing, and we talked about this, I think last week with oil, a lot of that private credit growth, which is driving our money growth, which is driving our ability to bid up stonks and other things, is predicated on loans to build data centers, which require a lot of petroleum to build. And those loans were all written with gas at $60 a barrel. So I think private credit is going to come into much more acute focus over the next month or two, especially as everybody's just kind of getting. I mean, people are definitely very concerned about a lot of the
Was
dynamics
it
of
Waller
the
that said he
AI.
didn't see any systemic risk in private credit yet?
I mean, sure, they all have to say that stuff, right? Because the second that they
I
don't
just thought
say
it
it,
was
then
interesting that he said yet.
yeah, fair. If I ever run for vice president one day with you, Girk, my part of my platform will be daily mark to market of everything, no exceptions.
I like it.
That would fix so many things. Just make that one little change. You must mark everything to market every day.
Let's try to get rid of all institutionally advantageous arbitrage.
Ooh.
What if
That
that's
one
our
will be
platform?
harder.
Do you think we could sell that to the American people?
That one will be harder because it took it took me a long time to actually understand the mechanics behind how exactly they are fucking everybody.
No. But
And
now
I
that you're
think that
there,
right, but okay, so it's one thing to tell people that. They all feel like, okay, yeah, politicians say that the rich are taking advantage of the poor. But to actually like understand the mechanism by which they are walking up to you and taking money out of your pocket is a lot harder to get to drag people to.
It's an
We
extremely
would-
bitter pill to swallow.
we would
It's
die unsung heroes if we could accomplish it, but we would die heroes.
You would
we
also
would
die.
also die because yeah,
Yeah, we would
because
also
we would
die.
get assassinated.
Yes.
Yeah.
We need a very robust Secret Service for our tenure.
If we are successful, we are going to have to stage multiple failed assassination attempts just so that everybody on the team is actually on their toes looking out for a real assassin.
Ooh.
Plus, it'll also help the would-be assassins know, or would convince them it's probably not going to work out. They've got a good team.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What if we just hold on? What if we just never go outside?
We already do that.
I'm saying, like
we just attend the presidential debate
we just
from our home office.
day one of the presidency, straight into a bunker, and then we just stay there. We conduct all our business from the bunker.
It's a little too Hitlery, isn't it? To
No,
just like operate out of a bunker.
well, I mean that's what the East Wing's for.
I'm slapping together something really quick.
We're gonna waste that beautiful, big, beautiful ballroom, or are we gonna utilize it?
It's a room for our balls. Needs to be large.
Trump likes big
making a-
balls.
Here we go.
His
All right.
balls are always bouncing.
Check chat.
To the left and to the right.
I've made the diagram for you guys for when you're campaigning.
Ron, get that shit up on the screen for the YouTube version. Tom's hiding place.
I forgot that part. Shit.
The air vent and the fan. Gert and J Fresh. Entrance
you get-
hidden by bricks and rubble. It's just a tomb.
You guys will be like the doubles losers, you know? You'll be hanging out in there.
Wait. Oh God, yeah, we're gonna have to decide who's on the bottom and who's on
the
the
power
top.
bottom.
I think that's already decided by the title.
Eric and J Fresh.
Yeah.
All
Otis
right.
and Veep.
All right, let's cut to commercial break. We've been at this for well over an hour. Ron, you know what to do.
Well, hey there, stranger. If you're enjoying this podcast, be sure to check us out on our socials, where you can hear the latest about Vol Stars and Gammastrike. Check us out on X, Blue Sky, and Reddit. We're at over an hour in, so it's clear you like Vol Stars, and for that, we're thankful. Could you do us a huge favor, though, and be sure to give this a like and subscribe if you haven't already? It really helps us to get the podcast out to others, so we appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, now we are back. We're always laughing after every break because we always screw up the transition, which
Do you have a
by
French mouse in your pocket?
by we, I do mean mostly myself, but you threw me off because you were about to say something right as the two hit the screen, which made me
On
freak
purpose.
out to prepare to start speaking, but I always forget that I need to prepare to start waiting to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just cut the commercials in production?
I don't know, because it's fun having them play live.
It's nice to listen. It does bring the energy up to hear them. I regretted it right after I suggested it.
Yeah.
All right.
Ron's over here crying.
No, he's over here eating dinner like the professional that he is.
Mm.
All right, so trading with Gammastrike. I guess I win last week simply because I went long on anything.
Yeah. Well, anything that wasn't oil.
100% correct.
Yeah, I don't know that I even want to take a victory lap or anything because I picked Microsoft. I mean, at least the levels I picked, it got all the way up to like 430 at the high, and I capped myself at 410 with a sold call because I wasn't confident that we'd go that high, but I basically
I got fucking wrecked, so I guess I just let my position ride.
It was a 4.54% up week.
Yeah, right.
In the market. And I did mention to you guys when you were deciding on your trading with Gammastrike positions that call debits might be good.
And you know what I did instead?
All of those went in the money. If you bought a call debit 3% out of the money, it went in the money.
Which stock?
SPX. The only one that matters.
Oh.
Why would you look at stocks individually when you can trade them all together in a big basket?
You mean all seven of them?
So are we all picking SPX
all
plays
7 of
this
them
week?
As one, which is even better. No, we don't have to do that. It's too late anyway. We've already seen futures open. All the fun's gone.
All the magic is wasted.
The thrill is gone.
Let me see. I'm going to do a classic scanner play is what I'm going to do.
I think I accidentally just signed up.
Unless
for
everyone's excited to watch ES fill the upside gap while oil climbs to $90 a barrel.
Stop telling me to let my position ride, okay?
Actually,
did you guys cancel my Gammastrike subscription again?
Yeah, we did.
God damn
It said you were sharing your account information, so we had to ban you.
Well, I can't trade with Gammastrike this week because I'm logged out. It's just telling me to sign up.
Have you tried logging back in?
Yeah, I did actually. We're gonna have
Are
to
you using
yell
the
at
right
Atomic.
version of Gammastrike?
I'm trying all of them. Ooh, let me go to some super secret Gammastrike. Aha, I'm in the super secret one.
There you go. Where all the
Okay.
data's probably wrong because we
Yeah,
haven't fixed
yes.
it.
All the data's wrong.
Should
It
be
also
okay.
just doesn't load. All right, are we gonna tag team this one this week? I could start pulling stuff from the database. My database connection still works.
Let me see. I'm looking at something. I've got a candidate. I don't know how good it is though.
Ooh, I got in our dev environment. I'm in.
I'm in.
I noticed that I want to say that I want to use a new tool this week. And I noticed that the V spread or the VRP on sorry. Oh, well, I don't like that one now. On Oracle was 18.52%. And so I was thinking maybe I would like go long that somehow. I don't know if I want to go long to the upside or the downside. Probably the downside. But it seems like options on it are excessively cheap. Relative to realized volatility, of course. So I guess I want to buy puts. And I'll give those like 30 days.
I'm trying to look for maybe some things that haven't squeezy squozed yet that might start squozing because everything else went.
Mm.
The problem is I'm like looking at who's way below their gamma max, but I'm seeing a lot of software names and I don't know. I mean, I agree that they've been beaten down, but is this the week? Yes. Guess what?
Well,
I don't know,
okay.
or this is the week. I mean, this wouldn't be a
I mean, think
terrible
about it
week
this
to
way.
try it.
Like dispersion has to go one of two directions right now. It either has to collapse on the headline news or it has to broaden further. And if it broadens further, the next most likely area for it to broaden is after electronic tech and manufacturing is software.
Well, I don't know what AVTR is, but it looks like it's ready to just rounded bottom breakout its way to to Valhalla.
I would agree with you if it was above $10. It's a medical specialty company.
Does what it does actually matter? I don't know.
Mm.
I'm gonna hold that one in my back pocket for a minute while I look at a few other ones because that one's just like way below Gamma Max, but it's also a pretty small chain, so that could just be an artifact. So Wix and Adobe are looking pretty beaten down.
I've got one that I kind
Go
of
for
like.
it.
Hold on. I'm still figuring out what I think about this. Okay. Eric's gonna shit on me so hard for this one too. I'm so excited to hear it.
It's a Tootsie Roll.
No, it's not. Does Tootsie Roll still have options? I don't think they do.
No, I think they got rid of their chain.
Yeah, probably. So I am picking, and I think I've already done this one before, but I'm doing it again, just with a little bit of extra sugar, spice, and everything nice. I am doing root.
Ooh,
Eh,
I like Root.
Yeah.
Wait, is
Root.
Carvana up and Root's not?
Maybe. I don't know. Here, let me. I'm slapping. There's the position I'm doing. Well, pretending to do. So, whole idea right now, and I'm gonna get some images from Gammastrike in there as well. Is it showed up on a scanner? I forget which one. I think it was the exposure scanner, and I was like, "Hey, Root, that's a stock." So I went to it, and I noticed that it's a little above Gamma Max, but there's a small caveat to that where I noticed when I looked at the gamma curve that this thing still got room to go. So let me see here. I'm gonna get a shot of this because I know Ron loves his fucking graphics. This in here. And then we got the gamma curve. When you look at the gamma curve, you see this thing's got a little ways to go up. But it's already, the increase in gamma is kind of petering off, like the speed's kind of dying off a little bit. So I was like, okay, this thing's probably got a little more room to the upside where it'll probably just kind of chill and consolidate. But there's technically room further out. So I was thinking I may just throw a little bit of the credit that a condor would give you, or a butterfly. I think I did a condor. And so take a little bit of that premium, throw it on exposure to the upside. And, I think it's going to probably close the week somewhere around $60. So I figured that's not too bad of a deal. And then if it goes above 60 by the end of the week, I can close it at a profit. Um, so that's and these are the two essential charts that I was looking at when
I
I
don't hate it.
decided this position was there. Yeah. What about you, Girk? I see you put something in here.
Yeah. Oracle bear put spread 185, so slightly in the money put with 160 sold put to the downside. Probably take profit on the test, I guess.
Interesting. I don't hate it.
I don't either.
Did you use any Gammastrike tools to come up with this, or
Yeah, I
raw dog
outlined
it?
that like minutes ago.
Did you?
I said the long options on Oracle looked very, very attractive due to the fairly negative VRP.
Post a screenshot, damn it.
Hmm.
Ron needs his pound of graphics. Okay, if you don't give Ron what he wants, he's gonna throw a fit.
Speaking of which, I think maybe we should flip VRP so it makes more sense.
That's up to you, Mr. Magic Trading Man.
Well, because right now it shows the like 18-point spread on the 30-day as being positive. But we can discuss this later.
Yeah. Otherwise, we're gonna be here for 2 fucking hours, and by the end of it, we're all gonna hate each other, and it's gonna be a whole mess.
All right. I kind of hate this, but I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna try Wix. And one of the reasons that I'm a little bit apprehensive is it's got stupid room to the upside, but it's below gamma neutral right now. It's below delta neutral. But it's kind of in that range where it doesn't seem like it's going to go much lower than it does typically. Also, if you look at DEX, even after the big monthly expiration, it's only just basically gone back to its longer term baseline since, November. So we're not really losing interest on the stock. So I think we might be at a bottom or near a bottom. So because I'm uncertain about going up, but I feel like there's evidence that we're at a bottom, I'm definitely going to sell a bull put spread. But I don't, and I think I'll probably use some of that to buy a call. I'm looking at the IV right now. So HV is elevated. Yeah. Skew is moving somewhat positively. All right, let me pick a position here. So sorry, I wasn't prepared. I didn't do my homework. Okay. So I'm going to sell a 55, buy a 65p, and buy an ADC
Okay.
for May 15th.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got all your screenshots together and everything. You know, it's
And
funny
I would
because
be
I was looking
watching.
at Oracle. But Root's more exciting. I don't know why.
No, it is. You're right. And I know it is. You picked the least exciting position on it feasibly possible, but it is more exciting.
Oh no, it's yeah, it's only like a 6 out of 10 on the excitement scale, but my expectations are always low.
All right. Yeah. I was just thinking about where I'd set my cut at, and then I realized these aren't real positions, so I'm just going to leave that there and let's move. Let's keep this party moving.
Yeah, we got him in.
Did we all go long? No,
We did.
Girk went short Oracle.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, Girk, what is your thinking this week? You think that something's
He's just trying to do a
in...
vol play here and think that IV on puts on Oracle are going to go up.
Yeah,
All right.
basically. I just think puts will get a bit more expensive. I'll make some money off them.
Cool. We got a good spread here. We can't just play SPX the whole time. That's no fun.
We all just get SPX calls.
No, we sell SPX calls. Were you not listening to the whole rest of the podcast?
Sorry, I'm conditioned.
The dip has already been bought, Dork. The dip was bought.
No, that means that's exactly when I buy. Right now.
You know, you know some other options that are really cheap?
VIX.
Yeah, I was skipping
VIX
that one on
options
the
are the
list.
most underpriced.
Yeah, well, I mean, VIX itself as a chain is fucked.
I know, it always is.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even say I used the Greeks filter and sorted by Gamma Max, which ones were below Gamma Max to try to look for ones. And Wix popped up as like number 20-ish or so.
Get your screenshots in there.
Oh, he needs all of them? Like the...
But he is a weirdo, okay? What he does with these pictures, I'm not entirely sure, but I think they go into his repository of images to look at.
I know what Ron does. Ron trades all of these ideas in order to pay himself for being the producer.
I gave him a pretty hefty pay cut last week.
I'm kidding. He just trades mine.
As he should.
Shit. Well, should we move on to the second best part of this podcast? Well, third best?
Good. You want to take over?
I'll do it. Yeah, get your screenshots while I talk.
I got it. I know you love the back end. I'll let you have it this week.
Oh, yeah. You know me.
I'm on the front, you're on the back. High five.
The wrong way around. It goes behind you.
Oh.
No, I'm on the front. No.
Yeah,
No, this
you're on the front.
no. No, that was I'm envisioning another layer to the sandwich.
You described two sides. Your 2D plane. He's on the back.
Nope. Okay. Let's just move on. There's no coming back from that.
All
I
right.
accept my my firing.
Sorry, Jay. So for all you guys listening, if you haven't heard before, you can ask questions of us. We do post before every single one of these things where you can ask your questions. You can also just tag us in any of your posts. Also in the podcast you listen to, we got little things in there, links for you to click, so you can ask questions there. So feel free to ask away, and a lot of you guys have great questions, so throw them in here and give us more fun content to do, because we really appreciate it. First question is from Discord. Explain how SPX was able to get so high above Vega neutral on the weekly and stay there this week.
There is no Vega on the weekly contract. It's pretty simple.
Well, it's also that this entire move was driven by Gamma.
Yes. Well, yes. Delta
Fauna.
and Gamma.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But
yeah.
no, there's just simply not a lot of long dated positioning on the SPXW chain right now, and that's the reason Vega neutral is so low. Is there's just not a lot of Vega on that chain. The total Vega exposure on that chain is fairly low, and it's all very very near term expiry. And so Vega neutral, like the convexity on the MM, like the dealers or concavity on the dealer's books from being in a positive Vega environment is middling from Vega neutral on the weekly chain. However, if you look later in the week, we really struggled with Vega neutral on the monthly chain, where there is a lot of Vega and longer dated positioning. That's where the impact is felt more. And the futures gap down tonight, I'm pretty sure, puts us right back at the monthly Vega neutral, if I'm not mistaken. I'll double check right now.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at previous instances where we went up, and this is unique to SPXW. Now, although I will agree with you that as we front load it more and more and more into zero DTEs, which has been occurring over the last few years, this should become more common for the reason that you just described. But yeah, this is a very highly unusual move. This can be confirmed in a million different ways. You can go on x.com, the everything app, and find many people finding all sorts of ways that this was anywhere from a 5 to a 26 sigma move, if that's your thing.
All these
So
sigmas
you're
in
gonna
here.
Sigma Rislin.
Get some
My kids
sigmas in the chat.
Yeah.
Here's
kids would roll their eyes if they were in the room right now.
I got some fun screenshots for Ron. The gap down in the overnight session on ES mean reverted us right back to Vega neutral.
Neat.
Yeah, so if you look at just the SPX chain, with the SPXW weekly contracts removed, we did our little peak up above Vega neutral ever so briefly, and now we can walk it back down.
Pretty rare to stay up there for any extended periods of time.
Very rare. Yeah.
Especially on a vertical move like this.
Yeah, we're kind of in the
remember everything is relative. So, if we have concavity in the market makers forward returns, because they're in a positive Vega environment. That amount of exposure is relative to the amount of gamma supporting that price, right? So we got huge positive gamma this week, which allows us to push up above those levels because the dealer still has to buy the dip and they have to hedge the upside against their Vega exposure. So you get like a double squeeze to the upside as long as that's trending. So as long as price is going up, dealers have to buy both due to their Vega exposure, and they have to buy the downtick due to their gamma exposure. So not only are dealers reinforcing the trend, they're buying the dip as well, which, you know, leads to the price action that we've seen. If that reverses in any meaningful way, which we have a little bit of here in the overnight, then things can start to flow the other way. But it really depends on, you know, how exposed they are to Vega versus how much gamma exposure there is. You know, because we know that in concave, when their forward returns are concave, then, you know, the dealer starts to not buy the dip as much. So it kind of shaves off some of that dip buying. And so it makes price a little bit more prone to like mean revert back to Vega neutral. However, once you fall just under Vega neutral, that effect is gone because the book becomes convex again. And so Vega neutral can actually be like a really strong support. It can be quite bouncy. And then, you know, as gamma falls away below Vega neutral, then you can start to get more downside. But trends above Vega neutral tend to be sustained in both directions.
Nice. All right. Next question is from Reddit. What is the chance that the U.S. enters recession with recent news and oil above 60 a barrel? Do I need to start stockpiling MREs and toilet paper again?
Those are too expensive. Those are up more than oil.
Yeah, and this we can harken back to Girk's synopsis of for every % oil moves up, GDP goes down this much.
I mean, if you were expecting a depression, why would you buy all this shit now?
Yeah.
Wait until the depression.
Well,
and
what
then
if
buy the
dollar?
shit.
Hold on. Maybe he's assuming that the value of the dollar will come down along with the future economic growth.
Mega doomer.
So, like,
I mean,
prices drop, but it takes 10 times more dollars to buy the thing you want, even with the cheaper prices.
So
maybe
okay.
maybe do a little DCA on your toilet paper. You know, get some now,
Yeah.
get some later.
That's
Or
what I do
just,
with gas.
Oh, what about like, this is a crazy idea, but hear me out. What about just like buying shit when you need it?
Whoa.
And
I thought
I'm
you
trying
were.
to
We don't do that
gain a
here.
fucking arbitrage edge on toilet paper. I can't stand preppers. What the fuck are you saving for? If the world ends that hard, all the shit you saved is worthless.
Opiates, man, let's go.
I thought you were gonna say, why don't you just get a bidet? And I was gonna respond, you're not. Who's gonna have the money to
I'm
pay for
assuming
fresh
anybody's
water?
stockpiling toilet paper. You don't have to use fresh water for your bidet.
Yeah, you just get.
I mean, like water
a,
from the city. What are you
a
just
needles
gonna
in your
like
butt.
pump it out of a rain barrel?
You could use like probably like gray water, whatever they call that.
Yeah, but
gray
I
water.
still have to pump it. I
Oh,
need
so
a
I'm spewing sink water into my ass?
Yeah. What do you think? It's distilled or something? Keep your butthole closed.
So food has now gone
It's a seal.
full circle.
I mean, I don't know if yours is a seal anymore, but it should be. You should be hermetically sealed down there.
Wait, so is that like proper form? Do you clench as you are bideting?
Yeah, you're not giving yourself an enema.
Well, then how do you know it's really clean, Girk?
I use toilet paper like a.
If you want to
like
clean the inside of your butt, Dork, eat
unwashed.
more fiber. If you want to clean the outside of your butt, get a bidet.
I'll put that in my notes. Next question from Discord. Really enjoy the topics being discussed during Volstars, but sometimes I feel a little out of the loop. Where do you guys go, or should I be going, to get insights into macro knowledge and geopolitical insights? Feel like I'm often repeating what you guys say without maybe having a better understanding of the underlying. Well, we have a staff of humans, and by staff I mean 3 or maybe 4, that go and trawl up articles and pull things together. We just keep with current affairs. I mean, there's all the people posting headlines on all the social medias, so you can kind of keep up with the Joneses there if you curate your feed well enough.
Just ask me on the stream every day.
Yeah.
Like,
But no, I
seriously,
mean, seriously,
he's already
we've
in my
asked-
Discord. I don't. Where
Well, hold on. So
is he trying to get the news or the analysis?
no, he wants to understand. He wants to be able to put things together himself. He wants to be
Ooh.
self-sufficient.
He wants a degree in geopolitics.
He wants a degree in macroeconomics, I guess. I don't know. So, I mean, I think the key here is develop a worldview of how things connect together. And I think we've talked about this in the past. Somebody else had a very similar question. How are things connected?
Yeah,
What are the mechanic?
I kind of have a clean answer for this if we want it.
Sure.
Go read Ray Dalio's paper on how the economic machine works. Then read Exploring General Equilibrium by Fisher Black. And then finish reading all of that with Macroeconomics by Paul Krugman. And then you'll have a beginner's idea of global economics and supply chain economics, which is mostly, it seems, what he's probably concerned with because he wants to trade it.
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, but if he's just trying to do like locker room talk about this stuff, then the world model and understanding how things connect together and finding out who gains and who loses from what and gaming everything out in your head gives you a pretty good idea. But Girk's got the academia recommendations right there for you.
No, I mean, Exploring General Equilibrium by Fisher Black is weird, but I think everyone should read it.
I don't know
It's
that I'd
called
call
academia.
Ray Dalio an academic, but sure.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Reading books
You
is
hear
an
that,
academic
Ray?
activity.
Good job selling at the
Yeah.
bottom in 2022.
We know you're listening.
Is he the viewer?
He's the
Yeah.
viewer, yeah.
Shit. This whole time I've been trying to get on with his fund to be able to make terrible trades for him. I didn't realize I was ruining my shot with this podcast.
You're
Okay.
you're his
I love
favorite.
how we got everyone to buy the top of China.
I know, right? With all of his China glazing, it was crazy. This one comes from Discord. Could you talk more about the lingering effects of high commodity prices and how or when we'd see that realized in economic data, like with 2008, yet furrier with and barrier?
Oh, this is simple, right? I mean, just never, because the BLS is a shit show and they're lying about everything. Now,
I'll
when
take
will
it.
you see that at the grocery store? 3 years ago.
Right the fuck now, too. Yeah.
3 years ago, and also now, and tomorrow.
Yeah.
And most of the days after that, for as long as you live.
Yeah. So, and maybe the housing market someday. Maybe.
Yeah, I think what you're really I've been thinking about this a lot in that you know, especially thinking about, like in 2008, there were definitely big shifts, but it's not like everything just stopped. It wasn't like super obvious that there was, a recession going on if you just looked around and talked to people any more so than there is now. I think the difference is just in the way that everybody and the media talked about it and how everybody was thinking about it. So in a lot of ways, for most people, a recession is really going to be more personal than like more structural. Like either you're going to be doing fine or you're not. And it's just more people are not going to be doing fine. I kind of think that is the same thing that's happening now, and a lot of people are struggling, and we're just not acknowledging it, but it's still happening. And a lot of like Girk said, a lot of the reason that that's been able to happen is, I don't know that I would say that the BLS is definitely cooking anything, but their data is definitely getting significantly shittier, and that's not being acknowledged.
It's the
right? We're
response
still
rates
treating it.
dropping.
Response rates are terrible. Hedonic adjustments are
That makes
very
the data
questionable. Yeah. Well, the fact that they're not, they need to post their uncertainty intervals.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
what they
fine.
need to do. If they publish their uncertainty intervals, I would be much more okay with the data. And if everybody was trained
It would crash.
to evaluate those uncertainty intervals, but everybody's still treating the data like it's as good as it used to be, 8 years ago, and it's simply not. So yeah, it's gonna. So when is everybody gonna realize the reality of what's happening right now? I don't know. You're asking us to predict when a mass delusion collapses on itself. I can't answer that. I don't think anybody can.
I mean, yeah, it's if you're talking about Fourier and barrier like a depression, the old saying goes, a recession is when your neighbor loses their job, and a depression is when you lose your job. I think the saying still holds. So if you still have your job, I guess once you lose your job, we're in a depression. There you go. There's your anecdata. But other than that, it's going to be about 10 years after the fact. They're going to be like, yeah, that was a recession. Whoops. And then we go from there. Or when the stimmies start flowing again. If you get a stimulus check, we're in a recession for sure.
Don't look at how much the Fed is, how many bonds the Fed is buying every month.
Okay,
Right
$40
now.
billion worth.
Just the right amount. The Goldilocks buys.
How much is
Next
that a year?
question. Oh, a lot.
Almost $500 billion.
That's correct.
Well, next question comes from Discord. This one's going to be complicated, guys. So sit down, grab a glass of water. When down?
Mm,
A Monday.
now. Yeah, Monday.
A Monday.
A Monday. Yeah. The market will crash on a Monday. Tomorrow's a Monday. Specifically, the market will crash on a Monday following an OPEX.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is tomorrow, or May,
Or June.
May
Every
or
month.
June. Yeah, every month.
Love it. All right. Next
Was it
question's from
May
Discord.
18th? Yeah, May 18th or June.
Every third
June
Friday.
22nd. Yeah,
Yeah.
every fourth Monday.
Yeah, every fourth Monday. Sorry.
But I feel like we already
Third
talked
Monday?
pretty deep. Take it seriously, even though I'm pretty sure I know who asked this question. We gamed it out earlier. I think we covered that pretty well already.
I think so.
About the mechanics behind when down or if down soon.
How down?
Why down?
Who down? Where down? Okay, next question's from Discord. When do we anticipate the propaganda whipsawing to stop? Never.
Never.
Never. And the Strait of Hormuz official business hours are 9 a.m. Eastern to 4 p.m. Eastern. And that is when it is open.
It's actually 9:30, but you might want to get there at 9.
Last week they ran a little hot, and the Strait of Hormuz was open from Tuesday 9 a.m. Tuesday through Friday at 4 p.m.
Yeah, it's true.
Ooh, oil's back up to 7%.
God damn it, dude! I wish I still had that position. I wish the market
Dork,
wasn't fucking
I'm
crackheaded.
gonna DM you something right now. and you're gonna love this.
Can I DM you something back that you're gonna love?
No.
Are you sure?
Can
Okay.
you guys
yeah,
keep
you
it in,
know.
we're almost done. Can you guys keep it in your pants
No.
for like
no.
10 more
Me and
minutes?
Gert DMing secret shit to each other is like my favorite thing. Fuck you,
Oh,
Gert.
this
You're
is like
such
a whole thing.
you're such a bastard.
Did you just show them your P&L on your oil position?
I was up 22% on Friday, but I bought 1,000 USO 120 calls, and I'm feeling pretty good about them. And they're weeklies.
God, you're such
Oh,
a sick
God damn.
bastard.
You are sick.
Dude, yeah, he's gonna
God,
be
why
buying an
can't you-
extra quesadilla.
Why
Hey,
can't
they're
you
on
do
margin. I
something?
hedged the downside.
Why can't you do something normal like taking bath salts?
Oh, Christ.
All right.
Next question
Yeah,
from
but
YouTube.
well, hold on. In terms of the
Okay.
propaganda whipsawing, we also talked about that a little bit too. The propaganda whipsawing will stop, and they will seek a quick and painful resolution when the market crashes, and not a dollar sooner.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
I mean, it's all driven by one thing. Iran and Russia want the price of oil up, and everyone else wants the price of oil down.
Yeah.
There we go.
So until oil's off the table, it's not stopping.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. Next question is from the YouTubes. And I'm gonna roll my eyes at this. I would like to have a discussion on how the trend of looks maxing can be allegorized into Gammastrike as a gamma maxing strategy. It's with 2 X's.
Fuck does any of this mean?
You don't
I
know
don't
about
know, but-
looks maxing?
Yeah, that's where you
Is
give
that like
yourself.
where you
This is why we don't have your
Take a
face on
hammer.
camera, because
Is
you're
it-
not mogging hard enough.
is this like where you take a hammer and just beat the bones in your face to?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is
so I
where
do
you, this
know
is
what
where you
looks
increase
maxing is.
cerebrospinal pressure by constantly clenching your jaw and shoving your tongue in the roof of your mouth to try to make yourself more gaunt looking, and then you give
That's
yourself
called
problems
generalized anxiety disorder.
with your neck.
We're calling that looks maxing now.
I mean, if you're, I guess as a gamma maxing strategy, do you mean long gamma? Then I guess just fucking use Gammastrike to buy straddles. There you go. You're gamma maxed. Look at that. You're mogging hard on the chain. And we've got one final question. I don't know where it's from. This one's a little bit of a heady one, actually, for real. I'd be curious if you guys would be willing to talk about banks and short vol. If the banks are sitting on large paper losses, and put simply, their options were to pump equities or fail, shouldn't we always have a bullish bias on the markets despite macroeconomic conditions, as the banks will do everything in their power to keep stock prices elevated? Lil tinfoily, but banks and short vol is an interesting discussion for sure.
Yeah, which
don't
I don't
know
think we're
how
going to get into here, but yes, there was, I mean, in 2023, 2024, there was an obvious big advantage for banks to continue to short volatility when the premium allowed it. And that's because they needed to increase their return on yields to offset the, drawdown that they had on their long-term debt exposure. And so they did that vis-a-vis trading. The current environment does not support selling puts at all. So, I mean, they could sell them, and yes, there's always a bullish bias on stocks, and that's not just because of banks. But even if it's in the bank's interest, regardless of macroeconomic conditions, I think we found out more than once, SVB in 2008, the banks are wrong sometimes. And when that happens, like in all good capitalist societies, the taxpayer will foot the bill for the failures in their trading.
Yeah. I mean, I think the bigger story here, short vol is so 2024, right? I think
And 5
the bigger,
and 3
and
yeah,
3.
and
and
yeah. Well,
2021
the
and
in
2020.
yeah, okay,
Oh wait. Hmm.
most of the time, yeah.
Told you
2019?
shortfall all the way down.
2019?
I mean, this goes back to something
Remember when they
that
shorted
I
vol too hard and they blew it up?
this goes back to something that was harping on a long time ago. Is that all of these structural decisions that were made in the markets to determine how the markets work are designed to allow large institutions to move large positions without moving price. And so the short and basic, because if some huge institution wants to sell their 5% stake in Google, they're going to just destroy the price of Google in the act of trying to sell it on the market, right? So you create all of these mechanisms to allow them to move that without tanking the price. Because if everybody knew, oh, they want to sell that and they're going to sell it, everyone's going to try to front run it and it's going to collapse. And yeah, so um, the same. So short vol is advantageous to large institutions in general because it creates the appearance of liquidity, which calms markets and allows them to move things without, creating all of the chaos that would go with moving large positions. But beyond that, I mean, I think the big story with banks is their exposure to private credit or private debt. And I think
Yeah,
that's what a lot of people are talking about now. That's
I
what
mean,
the
they
Fed
still
is
have a
calling people in
ton
for
of duration
meetings.
risk on their books. And don't
Sure.
forget
Yes.
CMBS.
Yes.
So
But
there's a
they're
lot of
not in
risk.
it. There's the CMBS is another tricky one because they've obviously kicked the can on those and just allowed them to refi, so that they don't have to mark anything to market, right? That's the key. Eric J.
If you never
Fresh,
close,
2040?
were you even short?
No. You just keep rolling until you're right.
Yep.
Well, I mean, the thing is too is in terms of banks and shortfall, there's also the secondary connection of non-bank financial institutions and those kinds of guys. I mean, GSIBs and the like are prime dealers, and so the leverage that you know in this orgy of degeneracy, the leverage that is taken is
Taken on
facilitated.
their books.
Yeah, it's facilitated
Yeah.
by these GSIBs. So that's another secondary connection between them as well. So whether or
Yeah,
not,
I mean, you should emphasize that they are short vol because their clients are short vol, not
They're
because
long.
they are shorting vol.
Yeah, they're long their clients. They're long returns on interest or interest
exactly.
on
They
debt.
want the margin interest. They don't give a shit what positions their clients take, even if those positions may be very risky.
That's they should be giving a little bit of a shit, but clearly they don't, considering what we've seen in terms of capital flows into non-bank financial institutions.
Well,
There's
this is.
another part of this. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say this is also why we were kind of talking about and we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next segment, but why we're talking about the SLR ratios of the banks because last week, what was the one that was it Wells Fargo that was under 5? Or no, it's
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs was under 5.
Goldman was under 5.
But everybody, like all the big banks, their SLR ratios, which is basically their minimum deposits they have to maintain for liquidation risk if there's a run on the bank and other things. They all went down. They're all going down. So they're still levering up, right? And this is generally not a good thing. The more they lever up and get closer to that limit means that one, they're taking on more risk, but two, their existing risk isn't paying out enough to be a going concern. And we've talked about this a little bit in the past. Banks in general, at least modern banks, are no longer going concerns. They're not sustainable businesses fundamentally, right? I mean, until there's a collapse and a correction and then an intervention by the Federal Reserve, they continue to have to lever up to sustain their business because they are not a sustainable business.
Okay, Robert Kiyosaki.
I don't know who that is, but
He's a huge.
is that Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Yeah, it's that guy.
Gross. Guy's an idiot. Anyway,
You're
that's
echoing
my
his sentiment.
that's my soapbox. I've never heard a word he said other than his stupid fucking tweets. Guy's a moron.
I wanna point something out, and also something Gammastrike is great for, is that institutions, to touch on this idea that banks are short vol through their prime dealer clients, which are institutions, hedge funds, large trading firms, systematic trading firms, 60/40 funds, so on. Institutions do not trade the price of assets if they can avoid it. Institutions trade vol. And so, that's part of where the idea of like dumb money comes from, is because the average person trades the price of a stock. They buy it low, they sell it high. But the price of the stock is kind of irrelevant when everything's being net neutral hedged. And so institutions trade vol because vol does something very predictable. It goes down and it goes up. And if it's down too much, it'll go up. And if it's up too much, it'll go down. And if I told you, you could trade your stocks that way, that would be much more preferential than paying attention to the day-to-day price action of the stock. And I think Gammastrike does a good job. So that's how you gamma max.
We're going back to gamma max.
If you want to mog hard on the market.
God damn it.
It's disgusting. I love it.
We gotta run away from this full speed here. We gotta move on. It's everybody's favorite time now. All right, let's get into it.
Stupid bets. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose?
I won.
Yeah, I think Dork won because the only bank, I didn't check them all, but I checked enough of them. I checked enough to know that I didn't win. Was it just Goldman Sachs that was under their SLR? But all of them were pretty low. And it was, I think, Citi I checked.
So this is
almost
interesting.
there.
I know I will accept my loss because on March 31st of 2026, the ESLR shifted from 6% to 5%. And then GSIBs obviously don't have that same requirement because they get like an additional like 2% buffer to play with. But under the March 31st of pre-March 31st 2026 rules, of which these earnings were a part of, mind you, 8 out of 10 were we're under the ESLR limit.
I like how Kirk was like, I will accept my loss, and then proceeds to
what was the limit then?
With the only exceptions being BNY Mellon and State Street. JPM, B of A, both at 5.6 and 5.5 respectively, Citi at 5.2. Goldman 4.6. Morgan Stanley is actually under the current one at 5, or at the current one. They're like right on the cusp.
I didn't catch that one.
Wells Fargo at 5.9%. Interestingly, Wells Fargo doing the best out of the consumer-facing GSIBs, and then State Street and BNY Mellon doing the best overall. Still above the prior limits. I'm sorry, 6 out of 8. 6 out of 8, but the SLR limit changed on March 31st. So even though we're not using the SLR limit from the period during which the earnings
pretty
took
clear
place,
that we were talking about 5%.
Yeah, no, I know. But
yeah.
Technically, those earnings occurred in an environment where the ESLR was 6%.
Yeah.
All right, great. That's about your Pyrrhic victory here.
No, that's JFresh winning, actually, because I think he said 6 out of 8, right?
He said, no, I said 5. You said 6.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah,
you knew that before. Yeah.
The only thing that matters is the rules right now, Girk. Fuck you.
Look at him pretending like he's
He's
That's
like,
a
I
good
accept my
argument.
loss, but no, the rules
It's a
were
good
different.
argument and
and
It's a
probably
good-
really
it's a-
concerning that they had to change the ESLR limit like 10 days before those earnings were
Well, no,
released.
they talked about it. I remember this came out last year that they were talking about having to reduce it because, the banks are going to run into it headlong.
banks are
I
gonna
didn't
be under it,
realize that
yeah.
I thought it had been 5 for longer. I'll have to go back and look. It's a little
The
it's a little
official
complex
change was March 31st, 2026, with an
Okay.
effective date of April 1st, 2026. And
All
early
right,
adoption
so
began on Jan 1st, 2026.
what's our stupid bet for this week? I feel like it has to involve JD Vance for some reason.
Maybe we should bet if the negotiations are actually going to take place in any form, or if they're going to lie and say the negotiations took place, but they actually don't.
Ooh, so
Like-
that's a good
Like
bet with
JD Vance
parlay.
shows up in Pakistan, and no one from Iran comes, but then they go out to the press and they're like, Iran agreed to everything.
So,
Or at the
so
very
it's-
least, we had great discussions. We formed a framework for future discussions.
Which
So
will
it's
occur in
yes,
2
no.
weeks.
Yes, no on
Yes.
discussions, and then yes, no on lying about it. Okay, I'm down.
Yes, no on JD Vance in Pakistan this week.
Okay, so JD Vance
Is
blows
he already
it, and then
hold on.
lying
We got to
about
figure
it.
out if he's because this is such a quickly evolving story. Is he could already be there? I'm going to ask ChatGPT. Is JD Vance
Why are you
currently
asking?
in Pakistan?
You said this is a
I'm
quickly
not-
developing story, and go to the thing that updates once a month.
They search websites now. That's a thing.
Okay.
Okay, AI overview from Google. No, Vice President JD Vance is not currently in Pakistan. But who knows?
How long does it take him to get to Pakistan? Can you ask Google that? Specifically,
Well-
ask how long does it take JD Vance to get to Pakistan?
9 hours ago, Fortune.com says Trump sends JD Vance to Pakistan again.
Hold on. I'm gonna ask.
Well,
I'm gonna
the
ask
flight is
Gemini.
about 10 hours to Pakistan, I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna
10
ask
or
Gemini a
12
really
hours.
specific question. How long does it take JD Vance to get Gemini Pro, right? Vance to get to Pakistan. And then hold on, there's a follow-up question. This is important. It's thinking right now. Yeah. I love that I get to waste hyperscalers' money this way. Ooh, a trip for JD Vance to Pakistan would take approximately 15 to 17 hours. Now, hold on. What if JD Vance encounters one 3-piece sectional on the way?
Oh my god, I can't even
Thinking.
find anything useful about JD Vance because I typed JD Vance into X.com, the everything app, and it's all just JD Vance memes, which are actually hilarious. And I kind of want to just end this so I can watch JD Vance memes.
You're an easy person to please, Jay Fresh.
It answered, if Air Force Two were to somehow encounter a 3-piece sectional floating at a cruising altitude of 35,000 feet over the Atlantic, the logistics of the trip to Pakistan would change dramatically.
Yes, they would.
That's amazing.
Jesus. Okay.
I can't even tell.
So-
I don't even know if where in the world is Carmen Sandiego JD Vance?
What is
Where
that
is he
sentence?
now? Where is he right now? Do you know what Carmen Sandiego is?
Yeah, so just
Are you
the
too
way you
young
threw
for
JD
that?
Vance in there just completely threw me off.
Sorry. I watched a lot of PBS as a child because that was our only channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It
you
turned
were
me into a
poor.
goddamn liberal.
Yeah, look at you now, you ANCAP. I'm gonna go with yes negotiations and JD Vance blows it. Was that the thing? Or it was the negotiations happen and then we blow it? Was that the two things? Or we don't
No,
blow
we
it?
lie about it.
Oh, we lie about it. Okay. So yes,
Yeah.
negotiations, yes, we lie about it. That's
I'm
my
saying
bet.
no negotiations occur and we lie about it.
Put you in a corner there, Jay Fresh. Are they going to be truthful?
mean,
That's
we're-
basically your only choice.
That's not true.
I mean,
he can
pick whatever I want.
Two of us can win. All three of us could win. This is not
that's no
this is
fun.
not like it's not like that's not how this works.
That's always how I've done it because it's more fun.
Well, that's silly.
I mean, picking something
To
for the
someone
sake
like
of
you who
picking
just wants to win
something isn't
nonstop,
fun.
I can understand that.
Um,
This is the smug look of superiority.
I do win
can we add a
frequently.
Can we add a parlay on if JD Vance is already on his way to Pakistan currently?
No, because when this gets
Not.
released, it's
Wait, does Gemini know where JD Vance is?
I can't figure it. I can't find anything on X, the Everything app. I don't know where else to look for late breaking news.
Hold on, it says locating JD Vance. Tracking Vance's location.
Mm.
Oh boy, I just
Also,
put
I'm
myself on
seeing
a
something
list.
from
As of today,
23
Vice President JD Vance is preparing to travel to Islamabad, Pakistan, where he's scheduled to arrive tomorrow, Monday, April 20th. He will be leading the U.S. delegation in a second round of peace negotiations with Iran, alongside Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.
they're gonna blow it. They're gonna blow it so hard.
Okay, so JD Vance will go to Pakistan and they are going to lie about it.
So the negotiations will happen.
Oh, I thought we had to just say if they're going to lie about it or not. Not if the negotiation. Oh, we're lying about whether the negotiations
The
actually
parlay
happened.
is whether they're lying about it.
Whether it lies about the negotiations, if they happen or do not happen, they may lie that they happened when they didn't, or they may lie.
Oh yeah,
and
they're
they
not.
Did happen.
The negotiations are not going to happen, and they're going to lie about it.
Okay.
All right, you and
You're on
Girk
the same
versus
page.
me.
Okay. Also, should I?
What if the negotiations happen and they lie about them? Wait, that's what you said.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So Iran says it has attacked U.S. military ships with drones in retaliation for the U.S. striking and seizing an Iranian cargo vessel in the Strait of Hormuz, per Tasnim.
That article.
23 minutes.
I wonder how it's going to affect negotiations and the subsequent lies about them.
Iran said that the U.S. attacked and pirated a ship that was heading from China to Iran.
Yeah. They shot a hole in the engine room and boarded it.
But apparently it was a Chinese vessel bound for Iran, not an Iranian vessel leaving Iran.
That's going to be great.
All right. Well, Ron, you got the bets. The bets are in. We're set.
Bets are in, and this
Here we
is
go.
a wrap.
All right. Thanks, viewer. Play us out, Ron.
Check us out.
Thank you for listening to Volstars, a Gammastrike production. Please be sure to subscribe and check out our website at app.gammastrike.com.